In this lesson, we're going to learn the jumping inward crescent kick. So previously we've done inward crescent kick from the ground, and I should mention this is in a kicking stance. So we've done it on the ground, and remember, inward crescent kick is up and over, coming this way in if you're using your right leg. So here, kicking leg was back, and we come over, typically striking head level. So attacking the side of the head of the opponent when we're using it as an attack, not as a block. But remember, the motion is pretty much the same between attacking and blocking. We'll discuss blocking a little bit later. But for now, inward crescent kick, making an arc up and across, and striking typically, although you can use the whole bottom of the foot, we usually use the ball of the foot for striking, and then for breaking time, when we're going through boards, we will use the heel as the striking tool. In the real world, when you're wearing a pair of shoes, for example, it's probably just going to be the whole bottom of the foot that you're using as the striking tool for this technique. But this you know. So inward crescent kick should be familiar to you, right? We've done inward crescent kick many, many times previously. So now, what's different here is we're adding a jump to it. So this allows you to get more height, potentially, or it allows you to cover more distance to get to your target. And the simple act of jumping can be a very deceptive move as well, because with jumping, one leg comes up before the other. So it can actually be, perhaps a benefit that people often forget, is just the deceptiveness of a jumping technique. So if I'm doing inward crescent kick, and I come from here, that's what the technique looks like. If I'm doing it with a jump, right, I have to change feet. The kicking leg is actually the leg that's in front when you're doing jumping inward crescent kick. If I do it with a jump, then the motion is like this, right? You have that back and forth. You use the one leg to drive yourself up into the air, and then you kick with the other leg. So to somebody that sees you doing that motion, it looks momentarily like you're going to attack with the left leg and do something here, like a front kick or a roundhouse kick or something, and then all of a sudden you come back with the inward crescent kick. So it can be deceptive as well. It's not just about getting up into the air and getting more height or covering distance or clearing an obstacle, but it's also the fact that it makes it more difficult for your opponent to pick up the technique. So jumping inward crescent kick then, one leg up before the other, kicking leg is in front, and jumping inward crescent kick would be this. Just like that, coming up and drawing it across. Okay? So looking at that from the side, I'll go left leg here. So kicking leg is in front. Remember, jumping one leg up before the other, using that leg to drive yourself up off the ground, and then kicking. Kicking with the other leg, so the leg that is in front. 2! Alright, so that is jumping inward crescent kick in a kicking stance. So practicing a few by count. So we're going to foundation movement, do some foundation movements here. Students often wonder, they see me doing the techniques and they see me doing the stepping, and some of them are asking, when would you do the technique that way with the step in the real world and so on and so forth, with some of the, especially with the hand techniques that they see. But they don't understand a lot of them. I know if you've been watching my channel for a while, you understand this, but a lot of people that are here for the first time don't understand that we practice the techniques in rows and columns within the club. So imagine that you're in a room with 20 or 30 other people. You line up in rows and columns and you practice the techniques moving with movement. So that is what we refer to as foundation movement practice. It's when you're practicing the moves and you're not staying in a stationary position. You're actually moving forwards and backwards and doing the techniques with stepping. So putting it all together. That's the idea behind it. But we do them primarily for conditioning and for practice. It doesn't mean that that is how you would perform that technique in the real world, let's say. It's for practice, it's for training. It's to get the motion and the body movement correct and to do it with stepping and everything else. So anyway, here we go. Jumping inward crescent kick by count. 2, 3, turn around. 2, 3, turn around. Good, and looking from the side. Jumping inward crescent kick. 2, turning around. 2, turning around. Good. So remember, in most instances, ball of the foot is what we will use. If we're striking pads, if you were trying to hit an opponent, you can sneak it in underneath the jaw and hit with the ball of the foot. That has more than enough knockout power in it. But you can also use the whole foot. You can use the heel, and particularly if you're doing board breaking, then you need to use the heel at that point for maximum damage. So that, right, turning it over, that is jumping inward crescent kick from a kicking stance.